Hello, welcome for week 3 lecture. That's week 3 lecture here at South Central's entrepreneurship class. Again, my name's Mike Nolan. I'm your instructor for the course. This week we want you to have an idea and a choice in what kind of business are you going to want to get started. This is always the hardest part. As I've taught entrepreneurship classes, people kind of wig out about this, and they honestly think too hard. Remember, the goal of the course is for you to experience what it's like being an entrepreneur. This doesn't have to be a business that you actually want to start. You want to start something that you're familiar with and that you're passionate about, because that's just going to make it more fun. So a couple things to think about when we talked about this last week. So I'm going to minimize the rest of that screen so that I'm not trying to read my emails as we're going along here. So I want you to think about a couple of things. As we look into the world, we have businesses that reach their people through physical channels. So a channel in the business world is how you reach somebody. So if I run a Jersey Mike's restaurant, my primary channel is in the store. I have a secondary channel of delivering the food directly to the place of business or to their home. But primary channel is a physical location, secondary channel is to deliver it to their house via. So that's my channel of distribution. Is physical in nature. The other type of channel that I can have a business in is this virtual channel. So a virtual channel is, think about Netflix delivering streaming content. That is a virtual channel. There's no physical good. A radio station delivers through a virtual channel. There's no physical element of delivering a radio station over the air. So anything that's zeros and ones and bits, every app that you're using, everything like that is a virtual channel. Television would be delivered over a virtual channel. For the most part these days, we tend to think of virtual as being online, web, mobile type thing. So if you think about those two channels, and absolutely there are businesses that do both simultaneously, and we can talk about that. But for the most part, think about storefronts, a physical channel, actually putting something physical as that transportation route. Now, on the other hand, we can have products and services which can be virtual as well. So virtual products and services. Again, a movie is a virtual product. A song is a virtual product delivered through virtual. So a virtual business would be Spotify. A record store, where it's selling through a physical channel would be different than that. But think about that. Online, delivered online. It's a Wall Street Journal. So the Wall Street Journal app or website is a virtual product over virtual. Does that make sense? And again, we have physical products and services. So, Jersey Mike's franchise. That's a physical product delivered in a physical channel. So I want you to think to yourself, name some of those other physical things. It's every hardware store, hair cutting, all those kind of things. We have physical products that are delivered over virtual channels. Zappos.com, they deliver shoes, which is definitely a physical product, but you never go to a Zappos store. You get that through a virtual channel. You order it online. So everything on Amazon that you order that's a physical good and gets delivered to your door would be a physical product. So this would be an online, a real store, a physical store selling through a virtual channel, or selling real goods through a virtual channel. So we could use Amazon Books over here. You might do the virtual product and service delivered over this. How about a AAA? So there's a AAA store right here in Mankato that sells you membership in AAA. Insurance dealers. They're not delivering. You don't leave an insurance company with, you know, hey, here's your insurance. It's a virtual product. It's zeros and ones. It's letters on a piece of paper. But you go to a physical location to get that service. And virtual products, this would be everything from, let's see, the last thing I did was maybe Angry Birds, the app. So one of your assignments might be to give us an example of a business that lives in all these, a business in each one of these. So as you start to think about your business, I'm going to ask you, and through the course of this, is to map out a business and strengths and weaknesses. We want you to map out the opportunity and the value proposition. We want you to identify what channels you're going to use to reach your customers. We're going to want you to identify revenue and what that revenue formula looks like and what that revenue looks like over time, what the costs of those revenues are. We're going to ask you what kind of fixed costs happen month to month. We're going to ask you how you grow. We're going to talk to you about capacity levels of the business. So when I think about all the people that we helped through our Small Business Development Center, I can tell you that these business plans that are physical and physical, they have a physical location and a physical product or service, a yoga studio, a health shake restaurant, a regular restaurant, a diamond store, home rental business, whatever that physical product delivered through a physical channel, tend to be the most easy to do research on. You can find a sample business plan. You're welcome to, we're not going to restrict you to this, I'm just kind of telling you that as you get into these kind of businesses, it can be very, very difficult. So another way to think about different types of businesses out there, a very simple way is called red ocean versus blue ocean. And if you Google blue ocean strategy, you can find some really great reading materials on this concept. But a red ocean strategy basically says that there has to be blood in the water for me to grow my business. Opening a new taco restaurant in Mankato, Minnesota means that some other restaurant's going to sell less tacos for me to survive. If you open up a new car dealership, it's not like very next day there's going to be 20% more cars sold in that marketplace. The day you open up your taco restaurant, there aren't 20% more people eating tacos than the day before. You're taking business away from somebody else. So those kind of strategies are, we see business plans all the time, right? There's a saying in small business that your margin is my opportunity. So if you see a business that's making a lot of money, that has a high gross margin is the difference between the money I take in and the money I sell just to buy those products. It doesn't take into account fixed costs. It's just kind of that, the money I take in less my cost of goods sold. If you see a high margin business that you can attack, that you can find a niche in, that person's margin is your opportunity. That would be a red ocean strategy. And oftentimes you execute red ocean strategies around market segmentation. We see this all the time in the restaurant business. So if you've got a small town and there's just a Perkins in that town, or there's just a general service restaurant, what you do is you create a restaurant that serves a more special niche. So if there is no sports bar in town, you become the great sports bar, and that's what you do. Because you found that, yeah, there might be other bars in town, but I'm going to create the sports bar. I'm going to find a small enough market segmentation that people are willing to pay me more money, or to come more often, or do whatever it is that I can identify a competitive niche and take some money away from over here. Blue ocean strategies are the exact opposite. Blue ocean strategies are those businesses that really nobody else has to die. They're so transformational, they're so new that the next day people can get this value and service without having to stop doing something else. You could say that there were competitors for Facebook, but in reality, yeah, sure, MySpace had to die, but MySpace wasn't like Facebook, right? You think about some of the stuff that Apple has done. Apple, by creating the iPod, it didn't replace records, it didn't replace music, it didn't, you could argue maybe it was so evolutionary compared to the Walkman or something like that. And it was really the subscription music services and all those things where they just added to the value of the universe. There was no direct competitor. It was really even hard to think about those. And we see those from time to time, these really innovative strategies that open up and kind of create an entire new division. A physical type of blue ocean strategy, I'd say, would be a children's museum. So we recently had a children's museum open up here. Meg Stoyer, one of your co-instructors on this course, her family started the Children's Museum of La Crosse. And nobody had to shut down because the Children's Museum opened up. It might have slightly cut into maybe some YMCA time, or might slightly cut in to some birthday party venues in town, but that wasn't really the strategy. The heart of that strategy was to create something that didn't exist in that marketplace at all, and it's been very successful. So think about blue ocean strategies as a way to gain ideas, and think of some different business ideas that you've seen around blue ocean. Another way to think of businesses, and again, I'm just trying to get some ideas flowing. You can think of businesses as three different general overall types of businesses. And those businesses are, it's a direct business. Direct business, I make something and I sell it to somebody else. We're working with a student team here who's doing this new great line of longboards, and he's going to design, manufacture, and sell longboards. And in fact, he's coming in here in about a half hour, so I can't talk for very long. That's a very direct business. Restaurants, direct business. Anybody who makes it, manufactures it, sells it, designs it. If you're a consultant business, that's a direct. You're doing one thing for one person. A network business is where you bring two or more people together. A newspaper is a network type business. It has readers, it has advertisers. And what they add value to is they bring those two together. They bring through editorial content, photos, radio stations. The business that I ran for a long time in my life was this network type business where I brought together advertisers and listeners, and I did that through music and sports and talk and all these different things that we did in the middle to help bring these two together. Facebook is a network business model, right? You're the product on Facebook. So you create content, so you have eyeballs creating content that draws advertisers in. That's their basic business model. Now, the third type of business model is a marketplace. Now, a marketplace model is where you create something where people come, interact, and leave with something else. So Amazon.com is a virtual marketplace, right? So Amazon, until recently, didn't really make anything of their own. They were simply a big store. JCPenney's is a marketplace business model. Right? They put goods and services together. And how do you add value to the marketplace? When you think about those brands, so you think about stores. So when you're thinking of a business to create, think about who's already doing that space in your town. Are they a marketplace? Are they a network? Are they a direct person? And what is that niche? How can you create a different value? As you get your Live Plan certificate, there are resources of thousands of different business plans. And you can also check out in Live Plan a resource tab. And I think we'll create a brief video right now, which will be in addition to this, where we'll show you on the Live Plan screen how to access some of these resources. But you can actually look at sample business plans. So you can look at a sample business plan for a bike shop. You can look at a sample business plan for a bakery. You can look at a sample business plan for an online e-commerce site. You can also look up industry statistics based on different industries, and then we can also get you far better detail of that through our Small Business Development Center. So that's kind of the lecture for today. Please feel free to reach out to Meg or myself or to Dakota with your business idea. We want to be there to help you. Don't get hung up on it. It would be great if it's a business that you're really interested in. It would be great maybe if it's a business expansion for your parents' business. Hey, my folks own a restaurant over here, and we're thinking about having a second restaurant over here. This would be a great opportunity to talk about expansion. And I want to tell you that one of the great outcomes of having a business plan is to decide you don't want to do it. So let me say that again. Think about the process that we're going through. You're going to start learning and thinking about entrepreneurship. Dakota's going to work through the lean business model canvas, where you get to quickly and iteratively think about all those different aspects of a business and what that value proposition is, and have you found a niche, and what questions can I ask? How can I test this idea quickly and easily? And then we're going to teach you the traditional business plan leading up to borrowing money. You know, that your business plan is this transfer of passion, this transfer of intelligence, this assurance of low risk to the person who's going to either invest money or loan money to you. So you can't walk into a bank with a lean model canvas and say, hey, I've got Post-it notes and this is what I'm going to do. They want to see, hey, if I give you this money, how are you going to pay it back to me? So that's what we're talking about. We also did a quick learning on the types of business structures. Don't overthink those. I think one of the great takeaways of living here in the U.S. is that through these business structures, they limit liability. That unless you select a sole proprietorship or a simple partnership, and instead choose a limited liability company, a C corporation, an S corporation, you limit your liability. And this isn't true. I taught in Germany, and I was teaching entrepreneurship, and I was going over the selection of business model, and I learned that in many parts of Eastern Europe, that doesn't exist. If you fail, if you go out of business, there's no such thing as bankruptcy. You go to jail. And in some countries, your children and your children's children pay back your debts. It never goes away. Here in our country, if you file under an LLC and follow all the rules and regulations, if your business fails, the bank can take away all the assets of that business, till their debt. People can sue that business for failure to deliver contracts. But once those assets of that business is gone, you who live over here can wipe your hands of it. They can't take away your house. They can't take away your car. They can't take away your assets, because your assets are over here and the business assets are over here. So America has this wonderful way that limits your risk, that, hey, we can try things. And that's probably why we're such a great entrepreneurial country, because we can try things without this risk of lifelong failure. One of the businesses I've invested in was with a friend of mine called Alamar Cheese. So I own about 10% of Alamar Cheese here. We're opening up a new cheese company in California. And Keith went bankrupt. Keith's first business grew exponentially. He had 8 bagel shops. They were wonderful. And then between the carb craze and a divorce and buying out a partner and all these things happened in his life, Panera opened up, he had new competition, he ended up going bankrupt. Lost everything that the business had. They didn't take away his house. They didn't take away everything. He was able to settle, tax settlement, settle with the debtors, and he was able to start a cheese company. Now his credit rating got beat up, but there's actually ways to rebuild your credit rating. So he's now a successful entrepreneur again. And that's okay. That's why America is kind of a great place. So happy to have you in class. We're going to have some assignments for you. We're going to do a quick video tutorial, maybe your first glimpse into Live Plan right now, so you can see those different resources. You can find different sample business plans that might help you think about what kind of business you're going to run. So again, any questions, Mike Nolan is my name, or reach out to Megan or Dakota. Best to post on the bulletin boards. Thank you very much.